Trump spoke during Brian Kilmeade's show, threatening to withdraw aid from Nigeria, accusing the federal government authorities of being ineffective in protecting Christians. Let's take a listen.
It is a disgrace. The whole thing is a disgrace. They're killing people by the thousands. It's a genocide. I'm really angry about it. We get a lot of subsidy to Nigeria. We're going to end up stopping. The government's done nothing. We're very ineffective. They're killing Christians at will. And, until I got involved in it 2 weeks ago, nobody even talked about it.
Well, Trump's comments generated diverse views. While some Nigerians on social media agree that the government has been ineffective in stopping the killings and kidnappings, others viewed his comments as a disrespectful attack on our sovereignty. And I'll take some reactions. Eric Okafor wrote on X, "Nigeria is not a disgrace, and no president should ever say that about another country. If Trump has a problem with foreign leaders, he should address them and not the whole country." Jude wrote on X, "Trump's remarks, however inflammatory, expose a painful contradiction Nigeria has lived with for far too long. A nation that calls itself a giant, yet repeatedly fails to protect its most vulnerable citizens." But his comments also demand scrutiny. When an American president labels another sovereign nation a disgrace, it reflects not only Nigeria's security failures, but also the geopolitical arrogance that often accompanies Western interventionist rhetoric. His threat of military action reveals a disturbing truth. When a state cannot guarantee the safety of its own people, it inadvertently invites external actors to question and potentially undermine its sovereignty. True disgrace does not come from Trump's words. It comes from a government that has normalized suffering, politicized grief, and allowed insecurity to become the country's most predictable feature. Nigeria must make a choice: reclaim its dignity through decisive, humane governance, or continue outsourcing its moral accountability to foreign leaders who will not hesitate to weaponize its weakness. Meanwhile, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka over the weekend issued sharp criticism aimed at President Trump over his mission to intervene and wipe out Islamic terrorists in Nigeria, calling Trump a madman. Soyinka made the comments while speaking with journalists after a meeting with Governor Hyacinth Aliya in Benue State. Let's take a look.
It'll be foolish of us to reject aid in resolving any problems, whether economic, cultural, religious. It'll be stupid. If there's a possibility of allying with one another, we should take it. But because I'm ill, or I have some difficulties, I will not accept aid from a madman. That's all I'm doing. And my definition of a madman, or woman for that matter, is one who, when he or she says, "I'm helping you," is actually complicating your problems for you on so many levels. We know why he's talking. It's because why he's talking about Trump is because he doesn't want to criticize. I mean, how do you deal with Nigerians like that? So the problem is on so many levels, including especially the level of the citizens of this nation.
Well, Soyinka's comments come just a month after the United States revoked his visa and banned him from the country. The Nobel laureate has been a longtime critic of the Trump administration and has frequently criticized its policies on immigration and foreign intervention. Meanwhile, former presidential candidate Peter Obi is suggesting that he would have welcomed help from President Donald Trump to eliminate terrorists in Nigeria. Peter Obi made the comments while speaking at the 2025 Leadership Forum Conference at the University of Nigeria's Enugu campus over the weekend. Obi stated that it is not right to start debating when someone has offered you something that you have been looking for, adding that as president, a country's #1 priority should be security. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
Please, it's not genocide. Please, it's not this. But to me, I'm not safe. Come and help. Somebody offered you something You are saying no, it's not true. And we ate in the morning, but the whole of afternoon, collect the food first. What I'll do, I would have gone, even today you declare me president, I can tell you, number one priority is security of life and property.
All right, Dr. Abati, we've seen diverse views on Trump's intervention. That first soundbite I played from the Fox Radio of Trump calling Nigeria a disgrace was the #1 trend on social media over the weekend. And then we also heard from Professor Wole Soyinka, outrightly rejecting the idea of, military intervention in Nigeria. When we see Peter Obi here saying, if someone offers you help, collect it. Do not debate. Your thoughts on this?
Okay, there have been many views.
Yes.
Based on perception, based on affiliations, based on fears and anxieties and all of that. But President Trump, referring to Nigeria as a disgrace, that the country is a disgrace. Wasn't that what he said originally?
Yes.
When he first said Nigeria will be returned to the list of country of particular concern.
Yeah.
Nigeria was so designated when he was president in his first term. And then when President Biden came there, President Biden removed Nigeria, from that designation. Now it's a redesignation. And on that occasion, he had made a point that Nigeria is a disgraced country. Mm-hmm. Well, the Nigerian government does not think that we are a disgraced country. He has repeated the same label, in the interview that you referred to, that this country is a disgrace. But we have had, congressional hearing of the African Committee of the U.S. Congress. Well, even if he says he's coming to Nigeria with guns and blazing, he will need the endorsement of Congress, the approval of Congress. And that's why he has to go through Congress, because he cannot deploy American troops without Congress endorsing. Otherwise, that would be an authorized act of aggression by the American government against Nigeria. Now, as for the suggestion by Mr. Peter Obi, it is on record that the Nigerian government has said we are ready to cooperate with anybody who is offering help, whether it's the United States or it's any other country. That was one of the first points that the Tinubu administration made. And then following up by sending a delegation to the United States, a delegation that have queried its composition. There's only one Christian on that list, and it is led by an advisor, not by a minister. The ministers were just following. Some of the service chiefs that were there, they probably had no business with, but the emphasis was on security and defense,
right,
rather than also looking at the diplomatic side of it. Even the NIA was not part of that team. So, well, they've gone there. Eventually, when we raised the alarm here, that even our national security advisor cannot be talking to a first-time congressman. They found a way around it, and national security advisor Ribadu met with Pete Hegseth, because in diplomacy, equals talk to equals, which was why Ramaphosa says he's not going to hand over to a junior U.S. official at the end of the G20, and he snubbed the United States. Within protocol reasons, President Ramaphosa acted well. So when Mr. Peter Obi says cooperation, pause and reflect and all that, well, the Nigerian government is already going that line. Now, Professor Wole Soyinka has been very consistent in criticizing Donald Trump. He says he's even going to write Idi Amin Part 2, Trump, Idi Amin in America kind of play. And when Trump was there for his first time, he voluntarily, relinquished his green card because, it will appear that Professor Soyinka had seen what will happen under the Trump dispensation. And this time around, he has also not stopped criticizing him, either the visa policy or the plan to come and attack Nigeria. When he says he will not take help from a madman, there is a popular saying that even when your enemy offers you food, you don't take it.
You don't take it.
But that's his own perspective.